Hello everyone, this is In-Game Arts with another boxing of the offline product game review. This is New Super Lucky's Tale for the PlayStation 4, but this is being played and tested on my PlayStation 5. To jump right into it, this physical copy here just says it's just the base vanilla version of the game, so the on-disc version is 1.0. Now most time this is not a good sign, because most times when a game is the vanilla version or 1.0, and it's not like a complete edition or Game of the Year edition, there's generally some update or something like that or some missing content. But I am happy to tell you at the time making this video that there are no updates available, and this is the most completed version of New Super Lucky's Tale on disc. So this is extremely nice to see a complete version of New Super Lucky's Tale. And as well, I was still unlocking trophies with my unregistered account. Now I have played this game before. I originally first played it on the Switch. Now I can't remember if there was an update for the Switch version, but I do know this game originally first came out on Xbox. So it is very interesting and nice to see that this game eventually got widespread release, because it is becoming a bit of a scarcity that we are getting some platformers or 3D platformers, and I'm really worried that we may be seeing the end of them, where we're not really seeing newer ones pop up, and anytime they do pop up, they're really just from indies or really just off the side games. They're not really big franchises that big AAA or any kind of big studios are trying to back. Well, I was really helpful that Xbox or Microsoft really tried to back this one up and make it like their mascot, and as you can tell, it didn't really happen for them, and I'm really disappointed on that, because it is actually a fairly good game. I mean, look, Super Lucky's Tale is just your tried and true 3D platformer. It's cute, it's simple, it's straightforward. The colorfulness, the playfulness, and just the overall aesthetic of the game is really good. Music and so on is all on point. It is nothing really wrong about New Super Lucky's Tale. It is generally a good 3D platformer, or a good game for kids who are first getting into gaming. And that is a very interesting topic that we maybe could touch on in the future, that are these kind of games dying out, where more and more kids are more playing like newer stuff, let's say Minecraft, Fortnite, Roblox, where a lot of these platforming games just don't seem to have that growing strive anymore that really keeps them going. I wonder if it's just really us, our retro gamers, or people who grew up around the PS1 and PS2, or even in the NES and SNES day, are really the big forefront on 3D platformers. And I know this is going a little bit more on that different topic about the game, but in the game-wise, now you play as Lucky, and your job is to find the pages for the Book of Ages. You get separated from your family, and then you got to work together to try to gather the pages so you can get back home. And there's a bunch of villains. There's the Jinx and his evil kitty litter, which are all very well done little villains that you have to play against. It's definitely got this feeling of Bowser and Bowser Jr. and his little children from Super Mario World. So you really get that feeling of it, which is done very well. All the enemies and stuff like that are very challenging for what they are. They're not super hard or aggressive in their mechanic, but someone who's a veteran gamer such as myself, it's nothing that I can have any challenge for. But that's not to say that that makes the game bad. I think we sometimes forget that there are still children around, and there are still newer generations being born and stuff like that need to be introduced to these kinds of games, and it's very important to have these games that are approachable for them. So that's why it is a good game for that. So if you're someone who is maybe a light gamer, or just a casual gamer, you don't dedicate a lot of time to it, or you may have a wife, girlfriend, or even a boyfriend or anything like that who may be into these kinds of games, this is a good approach of game for someone who's a casual. Or if you're trying to introduce a new starting game, kids maybe between 10 or younger or something like that, it's just a very good game. It's very sweet and touchy and stuff like that. Nothing that's going to break the box office or anything like that. But that's why I feel like, or is this a dying genre? It can no longer strive? I know people would say Mario's still a thing, but Mario is just, I don't know, like every time you would think of anything kid-friendly, it's just Nintendo. Like, let's say Kirby, Yoshi, Mario, and so on and so forth. Why is it these games can no longer have that backing of that in that stature way? It's just interesting, because we've lost, we barely even see anything with Spyro and Crash anymore, even with the remakes. And you don't get Jak and Dexter or Sly Cooper, even Ratchet and Clank are barely holding on to stay in front of the media in terms of people's attention for these kinds of games. In the end, it was still a fun time to play this game. There's nothing really I can do add on this subject. I've covered it on the Switch back in the day. It's just a fun, playful little game. I 100% completed. It was nice to actually unlock trophies, because I remember that was one of my complaints about playing the Switch version, that it felt disappointing not getting like trophies or achievements. So it was really nice to get the trophies and stuff like that. The game. I didn't platinum it. I didn't go that far with it, but I still 100% completed all the challenges and the levels and stuff like that. I still had a good time just doing that stuff. And it was just a quick, simple game. You could really just play this game over the weekend and just complete it. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's no really replay value, and there's no difficulty options and stuff like that. So once you're done, you're done. There's nothing else really else to do in the game. But again, that doesn't necessarily makes it bad. But it just, you wish there was just a little bit more. You feel like there could be just a little bit more content somewhere in the game to give you that little bit more oof to try it out. But if I have any complaints about the game, and that is not really like bad about the game, but some might have an issue. There's a ball puzzle in the game where you play as a little ball and you roll around the environment. And this is not necessarily hard, but the ball's like rolling around animation, this looks very choppy. Like the frame rate is lower on the ball rolling that you're rolling around in my personal opinion. As well as I did have some very minor FPS drops. They're more like micro stutters and very just small little bits, but nothing serious to my detriment to my game experience. But overall, that was the only really issues about the game. Sound, music, gameplay, functionality, the smoothness of the game, the progression of the game was all on point. It's really enjoyable, and I really had a good time just picking up and just having a simple little 3D platforming game, which I have not played anyone in quite a while, and it just made me miss these kinds of games, and it makes me wish that somehow we could get a resurgence of them, but I don't know how it can be done. Even with like games like Mario Odyssey and stuff like that, I don't know if even that is getting the same push as it did back in the day with Mario 64 or Mario Sunshine or Mario Galaxy. It's just my personal opinion. This is well worth to be in your collection if you're a fan of these kinds of games, or if you're looking for a game that has completely on disc. This is the one to buy. I can't remember if the Switch version had an update, and I don't know anything about the Xbox version, but this version here was phenomenal, and I highly recommend it. So like always, I will try to leave links down in the description if you're interested in a copy. If you're a 3D platformer, if you love these kinds of games, or if you're looking for a game that's not super challenging, or you want to introduce to a significant other, whether girlfriend or boyfriend, husband, wife, or just children in general, this is a good approach. Now, keep in mind, this is only one player. There is no multiplayer, so it's just a one-player game, so you can't play with your kids or have some kind of special little I don't know, challenge mode, I guess, or something like that. So it's just one player. But overall, it's well worth it being in your collection. Don't pass it up. It's well worth it. I don't know what. There's nothing really wrong with the game. It's just a simple fun. So like always, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next unboxing video. Bye bye.